Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news from all over the country where Six Flags has decided to send out to some various people, usually pass holders, a survey of what they would like to see added to these wonderful theme parks that we know as Six Flags now. We have a whole bunch of stuff. So today we're going to focus on three parks that are somewhat interesting, and these three parks are Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags Cedar Point, and Six Flags Magic Mountain. Um, so,
More
um,
flags, more fun.
right, more. It's always a Six Flags day, hopefully. So Jeff, we've seen these surveys in the past.
Yeah.
What can we reasonably expect from them?
So I like them because you can see where the company's head is at. You see what kind of manufacturers they want to work with, maybe what rides they've considered successful or unsuccessful based on, what you see and what's absent. And I also kind of feel like they get the tone of what people they're giving people kind of like an A or B choice that are wildly different. So maybe they're trying to gauge, do we want people coming for family attractions? Do we want people coming for kids attractions? Do we want people coming for thrill attractions? So we'll kind of see a little bit of each of those in every park that we look at. And the other thing that I always feel like I see is you'll get a lot of repeats going around from one park to the next, and sometimes we'll see ideas from one survey pop up in a different park. So they're not necessarily for that park.
Yeah, exactly. So and ultimately, it's not saying that these are guaranteed to come, that even if one of them gets more votes than the other, that a lot of times none of them come to fruition.
Mhm.
Sometimes we see ideas pop between parks that you were telling me that originally what we think is going to Great Adventure was actually started on a Kings Island survey.
Yeah, I first saw it on a screen grab of a Kings Island survey, and then when I got my Great Adventure survey, it was the exact same thing except taller.
Yeah. So sometimes, like you said, it's just a matter of seeing where the corporate mindset is, what's going on, and what possibly could come, and that's where we jump in here to tell you what it should be in each park.
It should
So
be an axis, but it's a spoiler alert. There's no axis on this
no
list.
access coasters anywhere on these surveys. I did see Dark Ride though on some of
A
them.
lot of dark
A
rides.
lot of dark rides all of a sudden. I don't know what that means, but maybe we're going into a dark ride renaissance. Who the hell knows? So let's start with Great Adventure here. Right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
my stomping grounds.
there you go. So we have a drop tower of 300 to 400 feet. I thought they already had one of those. Oh, but they tore that down. That's right. I
Ah, another shot through the heart.
An S&S Sirocco Tower. That's from the Middle East, right?
Yeah, so they use the artwork from Sirocco Tower, which is going to go in at Six Flags Qiddiya, and that will become the world's tallest drop tower. So the one that they're pitching for Great Adventure, if that's what they choose to go with, will be shorter than that. They use the language of saying that it will be really immersively themed, which to me, I'm not really sure how you do that on a drop tower.
Well,
But
Doctor Doom, like they themed that
eh,
one a little
I
bit.
guess, but
Yeah.
um, but they also promised that it would have cool technology, that it would allow it to be a centerpiece of the park, something that could be seen from everywhere, and they called it a landmark, which was my language, I think, for King Ka. So I thought that was kind of funny. Um,
Um, I also find it interesting that they're giving very specific models too. That sometimes a lot of these surveys just talk in very generalities, like, hey, what do you think about, an inverting coaster? Or what do you think about, a flying coaster? And you have to fill in the blanks yourself. On these surveys, they're putting pictures of other rides.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
being very kind of specific with what they're proposing. So that's a little bit different too. I think that I feel that in the past they've been more general and vague, and here they're going right on the nose.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like maybe sometimes they've shown like a couple of different pictures to represent an idea, but they were all different rides. But we
yeah,
don't really see that this time.
no, this is very very specific. The interesting one, maybe not from a coaster perspective, but from a chain perspective, for Great Adventure, they said, "What about a Planet Snoopy area?" So they did just so we did that whole story of was it
Yeah.
coming back? They did re-up the license, so Snoopy is staying. And now is Snoopy expanding into the legacy Six Flags parks, and this is kind of saying maybe that is an option out there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a surprise when I saw it, but that was my first thought too, is that they're saying mixing IP is okay with them. So who's to say if that goes the other way and we see superheroes go into Legacy Cedar Fair parks, but some of the kids areas in like Great Adventure, like they kind of redid one of them. The other one looks pretty shabby. Um, the ones at New England are very loosely themed. One of them is still they just call it Kidsopolis because it used to be
Yep.
like
The Wiggles.
Wiggles and it used to be Dr.
Yep.
Seuss and it used to be all sorts of things, but it's none of those things now.
Well, and that's the
So
same thing with Great America too. Is they removed all the Bugs Bunny stuff. They removed the Jetsons and the Flintstones and Scooby Doo, and they remove obviously the Wiggles, and now it's just all very generic. So it's interesting to see that it seems to me that Bugs Bunny might not be the road they're going down. So, um, like and maybe they're gonna switch everything to Snoopy, which I don't think is a bad move, but does that signal the end of Bugs Bunny at the Six Flags parks? And also, that makes me a tad bit worried for the DC license too, to be honest with you,
I
because
think the DC license is very long lasting though.
yeah, it is. It was very, and even the Bugs Bunny license was very, very long lasting. I think we said something like Don Helbig said like 2030, some 2040,
Yeah.
something like
And
that.
that this is all stuff left over from Time Warner too. Like I mean
Yeah.
like this is like 4 owners ago.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was interesting. And then the last thing on there is a new flat ride package, which um,
Not super interesting. They've got a tilt-a-whirl, a disco, a nebulizer, and the Endeavor, which is the new Enterprise
yeah.
model, on the picture. I mean, they're all kind of like fun things to do, and
The
I don't
thing
know.
is like the nebulizer is like the new flavor of the month, like flat ride. And like I rode it back at Mall of America maybe a decade ago at this point, and it's a fun ride,
Mhm.
but like I don't know, it's not like a high throw ride. It's not like it looks pretty. It looks awesome when it's running. But it's not like a ride that like some people compared it to like a modern day Ferris wheel almost. With the
Yeah,
motions you get. It's
yeah,
kind
I
of like
could see
a
that.
multi-axis Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Um so and I don't know Great Adventure that well. Do they are they in deep need of flat rides there?
Yeah, they actually don't have that many. Well, they have some flat rides, but like some of them are pretty old. Like Wonder Woman, Golden Lasso of Truth is like the
Yeah.
big the Giga Discovery, whatever,
Yeah.
like the giant pendulum. And that's really fun. People really like that. They've got a Starflyer. Um, they've got like a
I
pirate
do have a
ship. They've
Starfire.
got like a super roundup, like some old stuff. But they also just yanked the ride.
Yeah.
They just yanked Cyborg. They just yanked
Yeah.
Twister. Like so, yeah, they did lose a bunch, so it would make sense to put a bunch in.
Yeah, and honestly, like I feel like every park needs a drop tower, no matter what park you're at,
Mm.
and I feel like that option there is probably like you took out an what was which one was it? What did they call it?
Zumanjaro?
Oh yeah, Zumanjaro. I was want to
Yeah.
say Lex Luthor. I'm like, no, that's the wrong
Uh,
park. Um, and how that was like pushing 400, right?
yeah, yeah, it was pretty much the whole. You go all the
Yeah.
way up to the top of King Kai.
So like to replace it with a 400-foot drop tower, you're basically just replacing what you got rid of. And I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest with you. So I would go with that option, but ultimately I could see all these things happening within the next 4 to 5 years. So for this survey especially, it might be a matter of when as opposed to a matter of if, because a lot
Yeah.
of these things are desperately needed at that park.
So I read this as Great Adventure's got a couple of major investments that they've already earmarked and they already have a plan for. And I think these are the off years.
Yeah.
Like so when they, obviously they're not going to put something in new every year anymore, but these are kind of like those which one's got the greatest need, we'll do that one first kind of thing.
Yeah. And really, if you're just re-theming some of the areas like a Planet Snoopy, like you might bring in a few new kids rides, but you're probably just re-theming stuff. So it's a matter of paying for, um, for fiberglass figures,
Fiberglass and paint, yeah.
so like you're not really like spending a whole bunch there. So let's move a little bit further west now to
Yep.
the
To
greatest theme
you.
park in the world, Cedar Point. They came up with a Vekoma glider that's like like
It's
the
kind of like a combination. You sit on it kind of like a straddle
yeah,
coaster,
yeah,
but you ride it kind of like a suspended like arrow almost. Like it looks like
yeah,
it's got like that swinging to it a little bit.
yeah.
It's a new model and it hasn't been built yet. So they're just showing artwork.
In an ART engineering racing railway.
So that's like what Carowinds, Canada's Wonderland has. You do two laps around. It's like story based. It's
Yeah,
they're cute. We went on it when we were in Carowinds. It was okay.
yeah. A family multi-launch coaster, possibly a Vekoma. Um, that's interesting.
Yeah, so when I look at that one, it's not Big Bear Mountain. That's not what's in the picture, but
Yeah.
it's definitely the Vekoma track. So I'm thinking that something like that, um, where you get some good thrills for the whole family, but no inversions, not too fast, not too high. Um, you know,
It,
maybe
it
maybe that goes where Snake River Falls is.
It very well could. It could also go up in the front of the park where Kitty Kingdom is. Kitty Kingdom, I believe, might be on its last legs. Like now having kids, I've kind of experienced Cedar Point in a very different way the last 4 years.
Sure.
And it's funny because I had a conversation. I remember being at Wild Mouse, and I had a conversation with Tony Clark, and we were talking about that exact thing. I'm like, you know, I used to be lining up for coasters. Now I'm lining up for, submarines, and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, like you are absolutely going to experience this park in a whole new way in the next few years. Like you're going to see things that you've never even seen before. And that could not have been more true. And one of the things I do see, ever so painfully right now is the lack of in between coasters for kids who are 42 inches. Um, because the jump from
It,
42 inches to
it only took you a couple of months to get on the same page with me.
I know, right? And the jump from 42 inches to 48 inches is a big jump. Like
Yeah.
that's years long. And so like my son, who is 4 years old, he's already been on 40 roller coasters.
Yep.
Thank you. Um, he is now desperately wanting to ride bigger and bigger things. And when we travel, which we do, he gets to ride these bigger things. Like we go to like SeaWorld and he can ride Journey to Atlantis and Penguin Trek. We go
Hmm.
to Busch Gardens and he can ride Phoenix Rising and Cobra's Curse. And he goes to Cedar Point and literally he's either riding Junior Gemini or he's riding Wild Mouse is the biggest ride he can ride there. And he goes to Dollywood and he's ridden Big Bear Mountain, loves that ride. He's been to Philadelphia, he's ridden Oscar's Wacky Taxi, loves the shit out
It's
of that ride.
exactly the reason I told you, man. It's because you think the old coasters are tweener coasters, but those were built to be the most thrilling things they possibly could at the time.
Really? And that's
And
the
they just
truth.
are.
And it's like so now when he goes to Cedar Point, like finally they moved Iron Dragon back down to 42, thank God. So when that was sitting at 48, that was like and luckily we didn't have to experience that very long because he wasn't really 42 last year. But they are in desperate need of a modern coaster to fit the bill of a 42-inch kid that families can ride together, that adults and maybe even younger grandparents want to ride. Um, that's what they need. That everything, all their kid stuff there is very, very dated too. Um, that like the front of the park in Kitty Kingdom, super old school. That stuff was there when I was a kid.
Right.
Um, so you're talking 30 years ago already. Planet Snoopy was was basically stolen. I forget which one it was. One of them was stolen from Jaga Lake, either Planet Snoopy or Camp Snoopy. I think it was Planet Snoopy. They took all the stuff from Jaga Lake. Um, and basically Planet Snoopy is the same exact thing as Camp Snoopy. It's the same rides, just rethemed. So like you're on a school bus here and a submarine there. So there's not a whole lot of like new stuff that they've really added in for kids at all. So adding a, a coaster, granted, you're still going to probably have to be 40, 42 inches, somewhere in that range. Um, but even if you bring that down to 38, I don't know what Big Bear Mountain is. Big Bear Mountain is not 42. Big Bear Mountain,
No, it's like 39 or
it's
36 or
like 39
it's
or
really
something around
accessible.
there.
Yeah.
So like
So
so you're bringing that height limit even down even further and giving families more of a reason to go there.
yeah, and if you look at what they've put, they've got a kid coaster with the art engineering raceway. So
Yeah,
that's just for kids. We've got a Vekoma family multi-launch coaster, which is good for everybody. And then the other item that we hadn't mentioned yet is a nighttime fireworks show, which is something that they used to do,
they
correct?
used to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but those three things, those are things that resort guests are gonna like. That's gonna get people to travel there and make a vacation and spend multiple days. Like those are the kind of things that I think they're looking at of how do we boost engagement. Now
Yeah,
the
and the
one that's
nighttime shows were always fun. Like I loved doing them as a kid. I personally don't like nighttime shows anymore. I'd rather be, even with the kids, I'd rather be out doing other things. But if that's the only thing left, it used to be go to the nighttime show, go get an ice cream, go back to the room and go to sleep. Like that was
right,
that was that was always
that was the
always
routine.
the
Yeah,
progression. And it seems like they were doing the parade and they did the boardwalk nights. It only runs for a very limited amount of time though. It's not the whole summer. And I don't remember, because I always went to Cedar Point in July. Like we, as a family, we always went in July. So I don't remember. They used to call it the hot summer nights. I could tell you the whole program of what they did.
okay.
I saw it so many times. So, but I don't remember how long it ran. If it ran in from June all the way through the summer, if it was just a July thing, I don't remember. But that's also an interesting one too. I don't know. Like they just got rid of the evolution of luminosity, whatever you want to call it. They just got rid of that stage. I don't I would much rather see a family coaster than another nighttime show be put in. Which I love their live events. I love their acting department. We just went a few weeks ago, saw the Shrieks up in the Jack Aldrich Theater, one of the best shows I've ever seen them do at Cedar Point. But I don't know if I want to see a fireworks show at the end of the night. I can do without that in my life.
Well, I think that the family launch coaster makes the most sense for what they have and what they need. But what's more interesting, I think, is that Vekoma glider. Good. One, because we're seeing it on several surveys, and two, this was the model rumored to go into Magic Mountain, which you
Yeah,
pointed out the last time we talked. We still haven't heard anything about. They still have not poured any footers.
yeah.
And Cedar Point kind of has another history of doing things, and that is stealing rides from their sister parks.
Well,
So,
that's
like,
like the new thing all of a sudden. Like I don't know. It's like it's not even like Dorney. Dorney would just take steel rides and
no,
take
no,
all the junk left over.
Dorney, yeah, Dorney was the hand-me-down.
Yeah, the recycling park.
Cedar
Um,
Cedar Point's stealing the brand new shit.
let's just steal another coaster. Why not? And I don't know how much I know about that ride. And like what the height requirement would be. Is there even one out there yet, or is this brand new?
Uh, there's no existing models. I'm not
Yeah,
really sure how they're marketing it, but I think that I mean, it could be a kind of a tweener ride as well.
yeah,
It looks like in the artwork, it's all like teens and adults though. So like,
yeah,
I'm kind of assuming that it's a little more thrill based. Now, I know that they did not want to get rid of Iron Dragon to fix Top Thrill,
yeah.
but if Iron Dragon is maybe on its way anyway, this would be a perfect replacement for it.
Well, yeah, it's almost the same exact thing. I do know normally with the straddle coasters, you do have a higher height requirement, um, just because of the way the restraints work. Even on the kiddie rides, if you, as I learned, if you ride the motorcycles,
Right.
it's a higher height requirement than every other kiddie ride in the section. So you would probably be looking at definitely teens and adults, and trying to get that market. And I'd hate to see Iron Dragon go, but there's also an argument to be made. They
Kind of
lowered
makes
Iron
sense.
Dragon, like they lowered the height requirement, I think almost for a reason. And I don't know if that was just to get more people on it, or maybe to get people to say hello and goodbye a little quicker. Who
Maybe.
knows? That's always a thought in the back of my head of why they do things, because
So with
it would really suck to lose another arrow suspended, which it's gonna happen eventually. Like we know it, they're all coming to an end here, so it's the writing's on the wall. So yeah, that would be your replacement.
I think
And
it'll be
then
a good replacement too. So if we go out west, we notice that this is not on the Magic Mountain survey.
no,
Um, so they've got the same collection of flat rides as Great Adventure. They've got a dueling water coaster. They've got a story-driven dark ride, and they're using the artwork from Phantom Theater for that one. So
mhm.
maybe Sally Dark Ride. But the most interesting one is again, we're talking about Vekoma. Vekoma launched Ghost Rider layout. So we're seeing Vekoma pop up a lot. So this seems to be the preferred uh, the preferred manufacturer on, and we're going to talk about the other parks at a later time. But this seems to be the preferred manufacturer on a lot of these surveys.
Well, and it's
So
also interesting because right now, like Vekoma, like the one, they're expensive. Two, I don't know if they're still booked up, but they were booked up for a very long time. And but if Vekoma can get into the Six Flags markets, and you're now drawing from all these new parks, and they're going to constantly spend money here, like this is a big market for Vekoma. Like Vekoma makes stuff that kind of fills, I feel that a lot of their everyday coasters fill the void that arrows left behind. So as you start pulling out these arrows, I feel like the Vekomas come right in and fill that void. Like B&Ms feel different, Intamins feel different, obviously RMCs feel different, but Vekoma like has always been like that arrow substitute, and I feel that now Vekoma has really great layouts and a real good train design and a real smooth layout, and
mhm.
they're actually going to do Arrow better than Arrow maybe ever did. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they have grown up. If Arrow was still around, I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be able to come up with their next gen of rides too. But yeah, these carriages are really nice. Um, I've heard nothing but good things about Siren's Curse. I've
Hmm.
been on a bunch of the family ones, and of course, Flash at Great Adventure. And we really everybody, all of us, all three of us liked the profiling of the inversions. We liked the 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 uh, the trains. We liked everything about it, and this one looks pretty cool too. I mean, it's got a double zero G roll. It's got an inverted stall. It looks like it's got a giant top hat or something too. And it says that it will suspend you upside down with zero gravity going through the station. The artwork looks really cool as well. Like it just looks like a cool layout. I hope that one of these do land at some park because there's one being planned right now, but I feel like it's in South America maybe or China maybe. I don't remember. Sorry, I should have that on my
Yeah.
notes, but it's definitely not nearby. So this would be a really great stand-in for that.
And I feel like a dark ride would fit well because they already have Justice League
They
though.
do have a Justice League there, yeah.
So another story driven dark ride, I almost feel would be too much of the same, and you're kind of like getting into that Disney market. I feel that if Knott's Berry were to do that and have two dark rides, that would make more sense to me. But
Yeah.
Magic Mountain,
Unless it's on its way, unless they're gonna say that's where it goes.
Well, that's true.
They're expensive.
Yeah, they're
But
expensive.
maybe there's a lot that can be reused there. I don't know.
Um, and I just feel that Magic Mountain's identity kind of needs to be that thrill park. That there's so much competition in that LA market with Knott's and Disney and Universal and all the smaller parks that they need to go bigger and better to be able to keep that attention span of the people. And granted, now you have two parks on one pass,
Yeah.
so that's got to be a big selling point. That hey, this weekend I can go to Magic Mountain, next weekend I can go to Knott's Berry Farm. That's got to be amazing for the LA market people, for the thuzies out there, to have one pass and be able to pick both places whenever they want. But I do think both parks need distinct identities too. That you just don't want half the closer half of the city going to Magic Mountain and the other half of the city going to Knott's. I know the traffic sucks, but I think there needs to be a distinct identity for each of those two parks to draw people to both. Because I think you want your pass holders to go to both. You don't want to create a Cubs White Sox thing up there in LA because that nothing will come good of that.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
I
Mets and Yankees, you'll understand that reference better. I don't.
uh, I think you're right, and I think Knott's has already kind of positioned themselves as that, where they've got a little bit of thrills, but mostly they're a family park and they're
Yeah,
a theme park. Whereas, Magic Mountain is we're an amusement park. Like come
yeah.
here and, go nuts and throw up. Yeah.
And I feel that they need to double down on on those
Yeah,
attitudes.
yeah, obviously. Yeah. That would
Um,
make the most sense.
yeah, so with that in mind, I'd go with the Vacoma for
I would
that.
do. Yeah.
And you
I
know
would say that would
me,
be great.
I've never been a huge Magic Mountain fan. I think they have a decent collection. They have a lot of coasters. I think their collection, there's a lot of good pieces in it, but I've always felt that they needed, like, even if they keep adding stuff and I'm like they still need that standout ride. They have X2 and Tatsu,
Yeah.
and Riddler to some extent, and Colossus, and I'm probably missing some. I was never a Goliath fan out there, so
Yeah,
that's not.
Goliath is okay.
I
It's
was
yeah.
never a Goliath fan. Don't like any of it. Um, but I always felt like they need that standout ride, and Vacoma's kind of like just playing at that with a Ghost Rider model. Like we saw Giga on some of those surveys, and
We'll get to him. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I feel that Magic Mountain, if anyone in the world is due a Giga, it's probably Magic Mountain, right?
It
Like,
would make a lot of sense. I mean, you know that there's no like height issue there because they already had a 400-foot coaster there as
yeah,
well. So like, yeah, it's a place that's screaming for one.
yeah. Like, and I've always been pro Cedar Point, anti Magic Mountain. So for me to say that, this is a big deal on this show right now.
Or
If
they
you've
could
been
just knock
around
down
long enough,
Goliath.
you know me asking for Magic Mountain to get something really good.
Yeah,
Something has changed in the world.
you got to get the value out of your pass.
Well, true at this point. So yeah, so we'll go over some of the other parks because there's a lot more interesting stuff on here. We
Yeah,
just wanted to cover these three parks right here, to give you a quick little update. But we will be going through some more of these as the week progresses. So, any final thoughts?
I really hope Great Adventure doesn't get an SNS tower. I really wish it was like a straight up drop tower. That's what I like
Yeah,
best.
yeah. So you're not wrong. But
But
okay,
it
so
makes sense.
so as always, thank you for joining us here. I'm of course Andy Robarchuk from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Jeff Goodman on Long Island, New York.
Right on, Red Warriors.